I recently lost my manufacturing job here in Rolla. Could you give a bit of a detailed explanation of what you'll do to give companies incentives to stay here in the United States so people like me won't have to, endure hardships, to have a family and, just keep it back home?
I'm sorry you lost your job. Where were you working?
Briggs and Stratton Manufacturing.
Okay, and what was it? What was it manufacturing?
Small engines for lawnmowers, generators, that kind of thing.
And what happened to the plant?
Basically, there was a duplicate plant built in China, and a Chinese group came over, and we basically had to train them on what we were doing so they could take our jobs, and be respectful about it, and let them take our jobs over there.
Well, look, this is happening all across America, and certainly all across the Midwest. In my home state of Illinois, in Ohio, and Michigan, in Iowa, you hear these stories over and over again. Step number one, we can't stop companies from moving, but we can stop giving them tax breaks. So we change our tax code to take their tax breaks away. That's number one. Number two is we make sure that our trade agreements are fair. So China for a long time was keeping its currency low so that its goods were cheaper when they were shipped in the United States. Our goods were more expensive when they were shipped over there. But it's not just, currency rates. A lot of times countries block us from selling goods into their country through non-tariff barriers. For example, in South Korea, they sell hundreds of thousands of South Korean-made cars into the United States, and yet when we try to sell in South Korea, I think we sell maybe 4,000 or 5,000 cars because they've got all kinds of bureaucracy and regulation that prevents it. Now, all this disadvantages manufacturers here in the United States. So I believe in free trade. I want to be absolutely clear about that. We're in a global economy, and we can compete against anybody. We've got the best workers on earth. But what we can't do is have an unfair, uneven playing field. And we can't have an administration that is unwilling to enforce our trade agreements when they're made to make sure that other countries are following the rules. So that's step number two. Step number three is, although some of these old manufacturing jobs may not come back, we can create new manufacturing that takes its place if we've got leadership from Washington. And let me give you a specific example of where we have a huge opportunity on manufacturing, and that is in the whole green energy sector. We're going to have to fundamentally change our energy economy. We've got to change it. We have got no choice because we account for 3% of the world's oil reserves. That's how much we've got, even if you count drilling offshore. And we use 25% of the world's oil. So it doesn't matter how much we do in terms of supply. If we don't change demand, then we are going to be in trouble. We're going to be dependent on foreign oil. We're going to be sending billions of dollars to countries, many of whom are hostile and are helping to fund terrorism. Iran is able to resist sanctions on them building nuclear weapons in part because they're making so much money on oil right now. So it's a national security issue as well as an economic issue. So what do? As I said, we set a goal, like John F. Kennedy set a goal. 10 years. We are going to cut our consumption of oil. We are going to increase fuel efficiency standards on cars. We're going to invest in solar, wind, biodiesel. Doing all those things, that creates jobs. We can start having you work building a windmill that will produce energy. We can have you making solar panels because we're retrofitting all our buildings all across America. We can have you help to rebuild our electricity grid so that we are using energy more efficiently, and we can take the energy produced, the electricity produced from a windmill, and send it long distances without losing some of the energy. We can work with the automakers so that we are producing the cars of the future right here in the United States, making plug-in hybrids that get 100 miles per gallon or more. And you would plug in that car at the end of the day in your garage, and whatever unused power was in your car, you could then sell back to the electricity companies. And so you're only using, at all times you're using what energy you need, but you're not wasting any. That technology exists right now. But the problem is we haven't had leadership from Washington. We can create 5 million new green energy jobs if we are serious about it, and I am serious about it. That's how we're going to restore manufacturing in the United States of America.